Welcome to Beyond Social Media Show, episode number 68. It is October 18th, 2014. I am your co-host, David Erickson. You can find me at D-Erickson on Twitter, on my blog at e-blog.com. I am with, of course, as usual, my co-host, BL Ochman. BL you can find at What's Next on Twitter. Her blog is what'snextblog.com. You can find her at maximum-plus.com, where she's the CEO of all things Google+. Go there to hire her so you can learn more about all the wonders of Google+. And, of course, BL writes for Ad Age as well. So every week we do the worst of what happened in the previous week. We do the best. We talk about some shiny new objects we're enamored with, and we roll it up with some numbers you'll want to know. As usual, BL, you have the honors. Start us off with the worst of what happened last week.
Well, this is the worst that happened in many weeks. You know, last week, Satya Nadella, the Microsoft CEO, said that women should depend on karma instead of asking for raises, and, you know, he put his foot in his mouth, so he tried to get it out. He apologized. He said he thought that maybe he had been insensitive, and I think he had also been insipid and a lot of other ends. And this week, he just doth protest too much because he said, you know, we're gonna do something about this, and you know, Microsoft pays its men and women nearly equal pay in the U.S. So he said nearly. He didn't say we are, as of today, making sure that every man and every woman doing the same job get equal pay globally. He didn't say we are going to make sure that every man and every woman doing the same job get equal pay in the U.S. as a starter. Nope, he said nearly. Give me a break. It is time for you to shut up and make equal pay for equal work the real story at Microsoft, not just in the U.S., but globally. And then maybe when you say something, it will mean something.
Yeah, he might have wanted to quit while he was behind.
I mean, how could anybody in his position be so completely dim? It is mind-boggling.
I'm at a loss. It is what it is.
Well, you know, but just shut up. Now shut up, because he's making it worse.
Yep.
Isn't anybody advising him? We're giving you some free advice, mister. Shut up. Okay, well, in not as bad as that news, Fiat accidentally took Viagra and grew a bigger car. In a completely ridiculous ad, this older gentleman wakes up in the morning, he comes out, and there is a woman laying in his bed beckoning him to join. He says, just a second. He runs in the bathroom, he gets a little blue pill, and it falls out the window, and it goes over the roof, and it falls in the street, and it ends up in a Fiat 500X, which then becomes bigger.
They say that sex sells. I know that sex gets your attention.
That wasn't really sex.
Without a doubt, that's no doubt true. But can we get off the using sex gratuitously to sell cars or whatever it is that's completely unrelated to the topic? I don't know. It's old. It doesn't work. It's whatever.
What is the tagline? I think the tagline is bigger and ready for action. Okay, great. Go ahead, Dave. What did you see this week?
Let's see. What did I get? Okay, so let me. My scroll is not working here. All right, so I've been watching this marketing conference, videos from a marketing conference, a very well-known marketing conference. I'm not going to say what the name of it is, but many of you know it. And it's not. I'm not mentioning the name because it's not. This issue is not specific to this particular conference. It's a problem across the board at any conference you go to. First of all, there must be a training academy for webinars, for webinar hosts, for the people who introduce the featured speaker at a webinar, because they all have the same voice. It's all and we'll turn the floor over to you. It's the same cadence. It's the same intonation. I just don't get it. But anyway. Aside from that, this marketing conference, the presentations were filled with bullet points galore, for people who are talking about visual communications. Okay, so the visual on it was not visual communications, it was bullet points. And if you want to keep people's attention as you're watching online, bullet points is not the way to do it. You need to give one simple image and force them to pay attention to what you're actually talking about, rather than the bullet points you're presenting on the screen. The other thing is egos getting in the way of your message. So a lot of these people are presenting because they've got big egos. They're happy to, they're not afraid of being on stage. They're not afraid of presenting, so that's a plus for them, right? But and they've been successful at whatever they're doing. So they've got big egos, but sometimes their egos get in the way of presenting. So they come off as being know-it-alls, which they are, but they come off in a way that detracts from what they're actually trying to say. It detracts from their message. Their personality, their ego gets in the way of their delivery. Or opposite, you've got somebody who's super knowledgeable about the topic matter they're discussing, but they've got this flatline delivery, and it's completely uninteresting to listen to because they just don't have any difference in their voice intonation. So they know their subject dead cold, but you just can't pay attention. It's impossible to listen to. And then avoidable technological snafus. So somebody was calling in on a cell phone from a foreign country and had trouble, surprise, surprise, flipping through his slides, and the audio quality sucks. So just some advice on how not to suck at a presentation. Avoid those things, and you'll be halfway there.
Well, there are so many other ways to make presentations besides bullet points, and I agree with you. Being an expert in a subject doesn't make someone a good presenter, and so many. I like to go to conferences where we're doing case studies, because when you're doing case studies, it means you actually did something. You're not just talking about something. And being a good presenter is something that requires practice, and something that requires a good bit of skill in presenting. And my big issue with conferences for the last couple of years is that they're all done with panels. Panels are so freaking boring. They're all done with panels, and then after the panel is over, you can't ask questions. What? Why did I pay to be at this conference if I can't ask questions of the experts I'm going to hear from here? So, conferences, and they're not cheap, are important places for networking, not necessarily important places for hearing presentations.
Yeah. This one is done. This one is done very, very well. There's all kinds of networking opportunities and everything. The content is really, really good. There's a lot of stuff I learned from everyone that I've watched, but so often they're done so poorly as presentations, and people's egos get in the way of it, that it completely detracts from what they're saying. So.
Well, I have another horrible, well, it's kind of funny thing that happened this week in Moscow. This is from the You Just Can't Make This Stuff Up department. I guess this is new to Moscow, but there was a mobile billboard, several mobile billboards on trucks, and the company called Sarafan Advertising wanted to promote the effectiveness of mobile billboards, so they put a giant pair of naked breasts cupped by a woman's hands with a transparent band of green over them, and the headline read, "They attract," and indeed they did. The trucks going around the city caused over 500 accidents in one day, and there were 30 of these billboards, and the police had to go out and round them up, and the agency said they'd compensate the idiots, the drivers, who were in accidents because they were ogling at the billboards.
Back to my point. That gets your attention, no doubt, but it doesn't necessarily do what you want it to do. Clearly, this is a case where lies. Oh my God.
I mean, they made their point. It did get attention, and they said they'd pay for all the accidents they caused. Okay.
But it wasn't the billboards getting people's attention. It wasn't the fact that they were.
No, it was boobs.
Exactly. Yep. So I've got a what not to do on Twitter. example. So last Sunday, my Minnesota Vikings got slaughtered by the Detroit Lions, and they had a rookie broadcaster, which is what happens when you're a bad team. You have a rookie broadcaster broadcasting your games. And this guy was so horrible. He was making mistake after mistake throughout the entire broadcast. Mike Goldberg was the guy. He had never broadcast an NFL game before, so he had no experience doing it. He was an Ultimate Fighting Championship broadcaster before that. He mistook players, so he mistook a Vikings player, wide receiver named Greg Jennings, for Golden Tate, who plays for the opposite team, but happens to have the same number. Both wear number 15, so clearly he was just looking down at the rosters and looking at number 15, and he looked at the wrong roster to call the guy. So that was an example of all the mistakes he made. Obviously, predictably, people took after him and criticized him on Twitter, to which he responded by dropping all manners of profanity on his critics, just the F-bomb, douchebag, everything, going after people, criticizing people who on Twitter, criticism can be pretty harsh, but it wasn't lacking in any merit. There wasn't there was a reason why they were criticizing him. So he of course apologized. They pulled him from the broadcasting this week, and maybe he will have learned his Twitter lesson.
That's that's not uncommon, unfortunately, for the people to lose it on Twitter. It's not the first, he won't be the last, that's for sure. That's sad, though. So this week, Copyblogger, which has 38,000 followers on its Facebook page, dropped their Facebook page and said that the numbers of your followers mean absolutely jack. They said complete the phrase with, your choice of word to substitute for jack if you want to. And they said that their presence just isn't beneficial for the brand or for their audience, and that their Google Plus community statistics are beating Facebook, blowing it away by miles. And I think that we're going to, or we should, see a lot more brands and pages just going, this doesn't work, because Facebook has become not an engagement medium, but an advertising medium. And, 1% of your followers are likely to actually see any posts that you don't pay for on Facebook. So I would say that this is the beginning of a trend, and I have it in the category of best digital moves of the week, because that's where I think it belongs. And I really love the image that they had with it, which was the Facebook logo with a knife in it.
Well, good for Copyblogger. I mean, I am completely sympathetic to them and their reasoning, and it's entirely accurate that it's an advertising platform, no longer really an engagement platform, but they have the luxury of being able to do that, right? They've built a huge audience. They've got a huge audience on Google Plus and everything. Smaller brands don't have that luxury. Facebook does remain the most sophisticated advertising platform for social media available. So I don't know that everybody can abandon their Facebook page, but good for them. Glad they could do it.
Well, I think the key is that any brand, large or small, can develop a community on Google Plus with engagement. At least if you put the kind of work into Google Plus that it takes to build engagement on Facebook, you will have people see the people will see it. The people who follow you, the people you engage with, are going to see your content. What they're saying is that, and this is what has happened now, what they're saying is nobody's seeing the content. What's the point? So I think the difference in Google Plus is that you actually can engage with people. When your content goes out, people will see it. That's an iffy thing on Facebook. So the other thing that I thought that happened interestingly on Google Plus this week is that Joe Sad, a couple of years ago actually, founded ChefHangout. And what that is a place on Google Plus where 1.5 million people are signed up to take cooking classes that they pay for. via Hangouts, and at a certain point he just stopped developing it, and now he is looking for a buyer to take it to the next level. So what he's trying to do, he built it on Google+, he's trying to make it the first company launched and sold on Google+. So he's trying to find entrepreneurs or investors or companies that might want to take it over. And I just thought his approach was interesting. And I had a conversation with him this week, and he thinks that companies like Whole Food and so on should take a look at it. And yes, I think they should. Whether or not they will remains to be seen. But Whole Foods is one of the companies that has a very large engaged daily following and community on Google+. There's a lot of food activity on Google+, a lot of cooking, because it's something that a lot of people share interest in.
And it's sort of, it's a very visual, if you're sharing, food bloggers, foodies, love their food pornography photos, right, of this beautiful food. So and the recipes and everything, and Google Plus is very highly visual when you're sharing photos. It's a wonderful medium for that. So I can see why that it appeals to that type of an audience.
Well, one of the first things he'll need to do is redo the site so that it does have food porn photographs, because right now they're not very clear, and it needs to be prettier. But a lot of people have taken classes, and they're like $25, $40, whatever for the classes, and the opportunity for doing more of that is enormous, and Hangouts are a great forum for them.
Yeah. So Twitter is testing audio cards, which I think is pretty cool. So cards, of course, are tweets that are specifically formatted for a type of content. They have app cards, they have photo cards, they've got player cards for video, and now they're testing out audio cards. They're in beta testing with SoundCloud. They've got Coldplay, NASA, the White House, NPR as partners in this testing period. The audio cards will be dockable, so you can sort of pin them as you're going through your Twitter stream, so it doesn't get buried in the other stuff. So you can listen while you're surfing Twitter, while you're reading other tweets and everything. So that's a smart feature to have. They're working with iTunes for a social commerce version, so you can buy songs or podcasts or webinars or whatever through iTunes. So I think this is really cool. You can right now, if you share a link to a audio file from SoundCloud in your tweet, it creates an embeddable player. So this has a lot of different applications beyond the obvious ones for music and podcasts, but even public relations. So I could, if I'm pitching somebody or if I'm trying to promote a certain person, I position them as an expert, sharing an audio clip from them, sharing their knowledge is a nice way of doing that. So.
Is that rolled out now? Because I don't seem to have it.
It's in beta testing, so they're
it's in some places.
Yeah.
On some accounts. Do you have it?
Check out Coldplay, NASA, the White House, NPR, and see what it looks like.
Okay. This week in social media, KLM Airlines attempted to respond to every single travel-related tweet, whether or not they related to KLM Airlines. They set up a temporary newsroom with the hashtag #HappyToHelp, and it was at the I'll probably screw up the name, Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, and it was masterminded by DDB and Tribal Amsterdam, and they wanted to show off their exemplary customer service, and their service is really exemplary on Twitter. And so they had 250 customer service experts working 24/7 for a week, and it didn't matter if you were talking about KLM or not. If you needed travel advice, what to do in a city, how to pack efficiently, anything you needed to know, they would try and find solutions to the problems that you tweeted. And they had YouTube videos that responded to individual queries, which is something that I love when brands do. And they also focused on real-world actions. And this is amazing. They hired a speedboat on the Hudson River so that they could cover the eventuality that a traveler would be stuck in traffic on the way to the airport and in danger of missing their flight. They could take them by speedboat to the airport. It would be awful great if they would do that, more than for a week. But wow, how cool is that? What a great idea. I love that.
That's very smart. So, I mean, the customer service aspect of social media is often and stunningly overlooked by brands, even big brands. And so, so taking sort of the Zappos approach to customer service is a very smart move because it solves all kinds of problems, not just customer service problems, but it's a public relations issue as well. So, you know, I don't know that they're going to be able to maintain a speedboat for the entirety of their
in every city, right?
Probably doesn't work as a business model, but doing actual customer service as a way of doing business and not just as a campaign is very, very smart. And
Well, but you know what? There's customer service and there's customer service. I had a couple run-ins with AT&T this week, and I felt like after talking to 5 of their customer service reps, I ended up really just feeling swindled, although I appear to have lowered my bill by half. Who knows? Who knows what I agreed to? You know, everybody said something different. So I went on Twitter to AT&T Cares or AT&T Customer Care or whatever the hell it was called, and they tweeted back, oh, we want to take care of this. We'll escalate this. Well, you know, so some guy calls me up and what happened? And I tell him what happened. Oh. You know, so I like, why are you calling me? You're just calling me so I can tell you what happened? What's the point of this? I mean, KLM was set up to solve problems. If you want to solve a problem, you don't do it after the fact. And, you know, there was no point. There was no point other than to prove that they follow Twitter. So AT&T, you got a long way to go.
Well, sort of customer service related, Google is testing video chats with doctors that are blended. The video chats are blended in with symptom search results. So when you search for a symptom for a given, you know, whatever you think you have, they are embedding in those search results, and this is a test, video chats with doctors who can answer your questions. That is fantastic.
That's a really smart idea. I know it's been done with veterinarians in the past, and I think it's a really smart idea.
Well, it helps to nudge the medical industry into using these actual tools I mean, because they don't. It's ridiculous how far behind the medical industry is.
They're trying. I think there are aspects of it where they are, in fact, trying to catch up. But you know, it's a slow thing. It's just a slow thing for very traditional industries, and especially ones where they have to worry about regulations and so on to, you know, to see their way into this. But I mean, the fact that you can do paid private consults in Hangouts is, you know, like, what is your problem? I mean, what better way is there to save time, to save travel, to save money? And you know, why wouldn't any profession be doing that? It's because they don't quite get that it works. They haven't seen it. People aren't talking about it as much. I don't know, and it's Google's fault. They don't explain it well.
Well, I think HIPAA needs to be looked at again and maybe tweaked as far as because I think that's the big thing that keeps hospitals and just the medical industry from using these tools because they're sort of freaked out by the privacy implications. They should be concerned about that, right. But it was written before all this stuff came to the fore, right? So maybe you need to look at revising that legislation a bit so they can take
we all know how long it takes to revise any kind of legislation. I mean, it's just such a slow process, you know, sort of 16th century speed. So on to shiny new objects. You know, today's Catter Day on the Internet, and it is cats that keep the Internet alive. And now there's an app called Tag a Cat. And it's kind of like Tinder for cat lovers. It's a mobile platform dedicated to sharing cat photos, and they say we're not just an app, but a community of cat lovers. So you upload your photos, and you like and you follow your favorite kitties, and you browse other cat photos, and you comment, and you make friends with other cat lovers.
That's cool.
It's kind of adorable, actually. And then there's one I came across that I really just thought was so much fun. It's called Polifiller, and it's a new online tool. It's designed to cut the drivel and the cliches out of political speeches, but of course you could use it for any speech. You just cut and paste the speech or the statement into a box, and you know, it powers the site with what it calls groundbreaking technology, which they say is 2 bits of coconut connected with a string, and it puts a line through the worst cliches and the emptiest lines that you have in your speech, and it actually works really very well when you put in things like groundbreaking technology. It crosses them out.
Good. I'm using that because there's a lot of some of the articles I read are just chock full of those cliches. I'd like to sort of just copy and paste from an article and run it through there and
How
send
about
it.
press releases? We're excited to announce. Yeah, of course you're excited, but we're not.
Yeah.
So, what else you got?
I got a WordPress plugin that has been around for a little while, but I'm just starting to use it, called EditFlow. And what it is a plugin for managing multi-author blogs, basically. So it has the ability to assign topics, the ability for a writer to pitch to the editor via WordPress plugin, the ability for the editor to comment on the proposed draft and give feedback to the author. And so you have different roles and everything, but it's very, very cool, very slick plugin for multi-author blogs. So check that out. Then secondly...
Wait, do we have it on our blog?
We do not.
Oh, well, can you give it to us?
I can, but we sort of just take turns, so...
Yeah, I know, but I would like to see how it works.
Sure. So we'll put that on our blog. Then the other one I've got is ahrefs.com. This also is not new. This has been around for a while, but I've never talked about it, so I thought I'd throw it in here. It's a very useful tool. Ahrefs, like hypertext reference for those of you that know HTML. Ahrefs.com is a link discovery tool. So you go to it and plug in the URL of a blog, article, a website, or whatever, and you can see who's linking to that site and that page. And it's a great tool for doing blogger outreach. If you want to try and find bloggers that are or people that are linking to a particular blog, you can find additional sources to.
I think you just froze up, Dave. I can't hear you anymore. There you go. There you go. Okay. We lost the last part of what you said, but it sounds like something worth checking out.
It is. It's good for blogger outreach, for link building, and for competitive intelligence as well. So check it out.
Sounds good. I have one more. I wonder, if this doesn't exist yet, but the designer Benoit Malta created Inactivity, and it's a two-legged chair that it forces you, I'm going to sit up straight while I tell you this, it forces you to avoid stationary postures, kind of like sitting on on one of those exercise balls, and it encourages you to be more mobile because you're uncomfortable. You're going to get up from your desk every once in a while, and the idea behind it is bearable discomfort, and it passively stimulates your muscles to improve your balance, and if you're uncomfortable, you're going to move, and that's probably what we need. It's pretty weird looking, but I do want to tell you that in terms of projects, this Wednesday, the 22nd, from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, I am producing a Hangout for Communications Week, New York, and the Public Relations Society of New York, and it's called Why You Need Google Hangouts in Your Digital Strategy. And the guests are John Yembrick, who's the social media manager of NASA, and Sona Patel, who's the social media editor of the New York Times, and Ronnie Binzer, the Hangout helper, and Nathan Edelsman from Edelsberg, from Muckrack, and me. And I hope you'll join us. It's a free event, and we are going to talk about how NASA and the New York Times use Hangouts in their digital strategy, what the ROI has been on that, how they went about getting approval to bring these into their strategy. We will talk a lot about what this tool presents in terms of opportunities, and so I hope you'll be able to tune in. We'll have the link in the show notes. So that brings you to daily numbers, Dave.
Oh, yep, I'm signed up, so I can't wait for that.
Me too.
So the daily numbers, Facebook videos overtaking YouTube videos in Facebook newsfeed visibility. This is sort of the headline from a report from Social Bakers, who do a lot of good work. They've got a lot of cool analytics tools that you can use. But I'm a little skeptical about this report. So Social Bakers analyzed over 180,000 Facebook video posts across 20,000 Facebook pages. And their conclusions: the recent trend is clearly showing that content marketers are directly uploading video content to Facebook, meaning that Facebook is retaining the traffic at the expense of YouTube. At the beginning of 2014, YouTube clearly had the upper hand in regards to the sheer number of video posts, nearly doubling that at the nearest contender. As the year progressed, we saw content marketers increasingly uploading videos to Facebook directly, with a 50% increase from May through July, and are trending to surpass YouTube at the end of the year. I don't think it's an either-or thing. Yes, content marketers are uploading, or people are uploading videos directly to Facebook, because Facebook has tweaked its algorithm to give Facebook videos more visibility than YouTube videos. But YouTube is still the second largest search engine in the world. It is still the go-to place that people go to find video content. I don't think that people are, instead of uploading video to YouTube, they're uploading it to Facebook. I think they're probably doing both. So
I think they're doing both as well. And when you look at it in Facebook, you know, they're tiny and in your news stream, and you have to turn on the sound, and it's not an ideal situation for video, if you ask me. But yeah, they're all over the place, and they're definitely increasing in volume. They're kind of like, you know, bugs.
Yeah. The nature of how people discover video on YouTube versus Facebook is entirely different too. On Facebook, it is happenstance. You happen to come across it in your news feed. On YouTube, you're asking for it.
Right, exactly. You're looking for it, and then you subscribe to that channel. Hopefully, everybody will subscribe to ours, Social Media Show channel. So, Dave, I'm losing your sound. I don't know why. But anyway, I believe that brings us to the end of episode 68 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And later today, we will timestamp this video so you can go directly to any segment of the video and hear about that. We will have the playlist on the Beyond Social Media Show blog. And you can find us, of course, on Google Plus and on our blog, Beyond Social Media Show blog. You can find David at estrategyblog.com. On Twitter, he is D. Erickson. He has eStrategy TV. He has a whole ton of websites. You should look at them. And you will find me on Twitter. I'm at What's Next. I am CEO of Maximum-Plus.com for all things Google+. I occasionally write for Ad Age. I blog at What's Next blog. We'll be back next Saturday with episode 69 of the Beyond Social Media Show. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.